My First Out-of-Body Experience by Laura Ketchledge. I remember my first kiss, the first time I rode a bike without training wheels, and my first out-of-body experience. Let me take you back in time to the pivotal event that was to change my perception about death. It was a markedly hot August day in 1972. 5 days before my 13th birthday. That afternoon, I tagged along with 2 friends to a stable I had never been to before. I was put on a big horse, tied to a hitching post. No one asked me if I could ride or not. As soon as the stable hand untied the horse, it bolted. The horse went wild. The stable hand caught the reins and stopped it. I was scared and begged to get off. The stable hand abruptly let go of the reins. My horse took off with lightning speed down the driveway, heading for the highway with me still on its back. The world around me was a blur of motion while I desperately held onto the horn of the saddle. Time itself seemed to compartmentalize. I was still terrified, obviously, since I was on a runaway horse. The biggest surprise was that I didn't fall off. As I pulled back on the reins, trying to stop the horse, I instinctively felt the horse's panic, like picking up a radio signal. We darted onto the road together, one doomed soul into the traffic, full speed with no hesitation. The slick, oily surface on the freshly paved road connected with the horse's hooves, like black ice. 2 strides later, and we were airborne. I remember it felt like the air was sucked out of my chest in one mighty blow. Suddenly, I was behind my body, looking at my back, hovering a few feet off the ground. I saw myself sitting on the horse. It felt natural, this separation out of my body, being a spectator. I can tell you every detail, seeing the waves in my long brown hair, the pattern of my green print tank top, and the dried-out needles on the nearby pine trees. Next, I was slingshot back into my body. As my left knee was crushed, sliding across the road, I was pinned between the pavement and the horse. As my ankle fractured and skin ripped off my leg. At the last possible moment, I put my arms in front of my face. My elbows and forearms scraped across the pavement, and I desperately wished that I was still separated from the physicality of the accident. After we stopped sliding, the horse pushed against my body to right itself, pressing me into the pavement even more. I did not cry or question what had happened. Immune from panic, I was calm and in survival mode. At this point, unable to shed a tear, I got up with one good leg, hobbled out of the road to avoid getting hit by a car. I glanced down at the gruesome sight of my crushed leg, with little emotion except a distant sense of regret. When no one came to my aid, I slowly hopped back to the barn. As I waited for my parents to take me to the hospital, I knew something more than breaking my leg had happened. My first out-of-body experience had altered me, and in many ways, I was no longer a child. I tried to recreate the surreal moment of separation in my paranormal painting, My First Out-of-Body Experience.